What's up, Bills Mafia? Bills Dolphins, week 4. Are y'all ready? I know I am, because this shit gets real right about now. But before we get to that, let's get to that intro.
This is Phase Music.
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I always forget to tell you. Well, Bills Mafia, boy, oh boy, I told y'all this shit is getting real. And the Bills versus Dolphins this weekend, this Sunday coming up, is going to be just that. And I'm going to tell you what else it's going to be.
It's not going to be any picnic, brother. It's going to be a war.
Damn right. It is going to be a war because that team is good. I'm not going to hate on the Miami Dolphins, what they've done so far this season, what they did last weekend to the sorry-ass Broncos. By the way, watched that game last night while I was working at my local bar. And, boy, I haven't seen a more pathetic performance by an NFL team in my lifetime. I've watched football since 1989. That was pathetic, both on the players and the coaches. I saw just probably maybe the worst tackling by an NFL team I've ever seen. The coaches should be ashamed. That ownership of the Broncos should go into that locker room and just give them all hell for that performance. That is pitiful. You're paying those coaches, those players to put that on the field. Should be ashamed of themselves. And listen, I give the Dolphins credit. They did it. They scored a lot of points there, 70 to be exact. But the Broncos, it just seemed like they just went there, laid down, and just took it. And no NFL team should ever do that. I understand teams, lose. I understand teams sometimes get blown out, but that was not a blowout. That was just pathetic. And if the Dolphins think that the Buffalo Bills would ever, even in our worst times, we would never, ever lay down like that. We would never take a whooping like that. We always were fighting. Even in the playoffs, when the Cowboys were whooping us, there was some fighting us. And it's just, man, that's crazy to me that an NFL team would allow that 70 points. That's wild. But anyways, moving on. Buffalo Bills rivalry. This shit is getting real again, and I love it. I absolutely do love it. Growing up in South Florida in the 90s, basically, is when I started watching football in 1989. I would go to a lot of Bills Dolphins games. By the way, undefeated going to the Buffalo Bills games just in general. Buffalo Bills, I've never lost a game when I went. I loved it because all my family and friends are Dolphins fans. And, they hated me. They hated me wearing my Buffalo Bills gear. I went to the game. I represented, leaving those games victorious, watching the Dolphin fans just suffer on the way out of the, Dolphin Stadium there. And, man, just absolutely loved it. Great times to be a Buffalo Bills fan, especially against those no good Dolphins. And in the 90s, of course, we ruled. We ruled that division. They hated us. We went to the Super Bowls. They hated us. And I just loved it. And then obviously 2000s were rough for the Buffalo Bills. And that's when, it was just a rough time to be a Bills fan. But then things changed. Things changed in 2017. That's when we hired Sean McDermott. And that's when we got Brandon Beane. And, we ended that 17-year drought, that 17-year playoff drought, that is. Got to the playoffs. And the rest is history. I got drafted Josh Allen in 2018. And, we've pretty much ruled this division um, shortly after. 3 straight AFC East championships, um, playoffs almost every single year under McDermott. 5 out of 6 seasons that he's been a coach, and just really pure domination, especially over the Miami Dolphins. We are 10-2 versus the Dolphins since 2017. Josh Allen has only lost 2 games versus the Miami Dolphins, so he's pretty much owned the Miami Dolphins. And it's just crazy to me, hearing all these national media and Dolphin fans just disrespecting the Buffalo Bills, what we've accomplished over the last, 5-6 years here in Buffalo, really 6 years. And it's just crazy to me, the amount of disrespect. And one thing about Buffalo, we understand, at least for me, and I understand, and I'll give a team credit if they're trending up, they're going into the right direction. And I give the Dolphins a lot of credit for what they've done. Bringing in a good head coach, bringing in really top-notch receivers to help Tua. But they haven't proven anything. They haven't won a division. They haven't won a playoff game since 2000. It's a long time, guys, since 2000. And for them to disrespect the Buffalo Bills, to talk bad about the Buffalo Bills, same with the Jets going into the season, to act like they've done something. They haven't done anything. It's a long season. It's 18 weeks, 17 games. And the Buffalo Bills have proven year after year that they are still the top team in the AFC East. They are still the AFC East kings. And until proven otherwise, these are just the way, it's just the way it is. And this is not me being cocky. This isn't me being a rah Buffalo Bills fan. This is just reality. This is the truth. And it's a long season. And no matter what happens this Sunday, it's not going to really prove anything in the long run, but it will say something about both teams and what they need to do moving forward, because we're going to face each other again down the road in Miami. And then we may face each other again in the playoffs. Miami's a playoff team. There's no doubt about that. They are a playoff team. And both teams better get ready, and because this is going to be war. Like I said, the rivalry is back. And it has, listen, the Jets and the Patriots, that shit is done. I'm sorry for Jets and Patriots fans. Patriots, you got a long way to go with that quarterback and your offense. Defense is fine. The Jets, you have no chance in hell with that quarterback. I told you guys from the beginning. Matter of fact, I told you guys since Zach Wilson's rookie year that he was no good. And it continues to show. And the Jets continue to throw him out there. And it's such a mistake. And I feel for Jets fans, but hey, it's your team, not mine. So let's get back to this game in hand. And I'm not going to read all of this, but this is top 5 storylines Buffalo Bills put out. So a rivalry renewed, and we all know this. So let's read it a little bit here. So the excitement and magnitude surrounding the matchup this early in the season takes many back to when the Bills-Dolphins rivalry was at its peak in the 90s. Buffalo had Marv Levy and Jim Kelly. Miami had Don Shula and Dan Marino. The two met for the first time in the postseason in 1991, right when the rivalry started to really heat up with competitiveness. To date, the two have played each other in the postseason 5 times, with 4 of those games coming in the 90s. Crazy, huh? Let's see here. Bills Wall of Famer Steve Tasker says he remembers the passion of the fans most when looking back at the rivalry. Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith. We had too many good players. Tasker said, reflecting on those seasons, Don Shula would come up with Dan Marino and a bunch of guys, and they were hard to beat. He was a great coach. And those rivalries were always meaningful too, because the Dolphins were trying to win the championship. They were trying to win the division like we were. And they were in a position to do it. A lot of times in the second meeting in the regular season between the division rivals, it was for the division, or even more so, it was for home field. And so they were games that matter, much like this game's this week. Between 1990 and 1999, the two teams played in 24 games, including playoffs. The Bills won 15 of those 24. As for what Sunday games mean to the national media, it's at the top of everyone's list because of the talent that will be on both sides of the ball. And that's true. This is, to me, this is the number one game this week. And yeah, going on Steve Tasker, the 90s were great. Unbelievable time to be a Buffalo Bills fans, and the Dolphins fans just hated us. They hated us because we always got the job done, and they hate us now because of the same thing. We get the job done, and that is what the difference is. Like the 90s Bills are what we are now. We get the job done, and the Dolphins fans just don't understand that. They get a little excited. They drink the Kool-Aid early, and as the season goes on, they wind up winning 9-10 games, while Buffalo's in the driver's seat at 13. This is just how it goes. So, you got to settle down there, Dolphin fans. You haven't done anything. And this rivalry, yeah, I'm so happy that it's back. But the reality is the Buffalo Bills have owned you for a long time now. And I would just kind of just be a little quiet, be a little humble, and be a little respectful when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, because like I said, you ain't coming to Buffalo and running us like you did Denver. It ain't happening. So let's get to the next storyline here. Bills pass rush versus Tua. The Bills defensive line is coming off a huge performance against the Commanders, where they registered 50 quarterback hits, and 7 different defenders generated at least 4 pressures, according to Next Gen Stats. It's a confidence-boosting performance that could be a big positive heading into a game against a quarterback who leads the NFL in several statistical categories. Miami's Tua gets the ball out faster than any other NFL quarterback, with a 2.36 average time to throw due to his speed and getting the ball out. It's been tough for opponents' pass rush to get to Tua with enough time to disrupt him. The quarterback only has been sacked once and hit a league low 5 times through 3 games. That doesn't mean the Buffalo pass rush group can't pressure on him. They'll just have to be effective in different ways. Right now, the Bills are tied for second in sacks with 12 and have the 4th most quarterback hits with 23. So far this season with Tua, when Tua does feel the pressure, his passer rating drops to 57.7 compared to a clean pocket when it's 137.7. The 3 games, the Bills have the highest pressure rate in the NFL at 13.3%, according to True Media. And the rest I don't really have to read. So, facts are the facts. You put pressure on Tua, his completion percentage, everything drops super duper low. His passer rating as well drops super, super low. So, listen, I really feel this game here, I almost hope that McDermott takes a little bit of what the Patriots did in week 2 against the Dolphins and applies that in his strategy this weekend against the Dolphins, where he mixes it up, in the first half. We give him a soft zone type of look. We rush our 4, but we give him a little bit more of a soft zone. We kind of, give him let them basically drive the field on short passes, and then basically work our red zone defense where we limit them to a field goal. That's the hopes, and that's what the Patriots did for the most part in the first half. Then the second half, you put a little bit more pressure on Tua as their offensive line is starting to wear out, and then that's when you can get to Tua, slow him down. If you saw in that Patriots game, that's exactly what the Patriots did. They limited the big passes in the first half. They let them pass short on them, and basically let them drive down the field. And then the red zone defense really clamped up and limited the Dolphins. And the Dolphins only scored 7 points in that whole second half. So you kind of see the tale of 2 different halves, right? Belichick adjusting, which I think it was all on purpose. I think he did that on purpose. He didn't want to come out the gates with that kind of pressure on Tua. But, it was smart to do that in the second half when the offensive line is a little bit tired by then, and their defensive line and linebackers were a little bit more fresh to blitz and do more exotic looks And you saw Tua. Tua did not look good in that second half. This Bills defense can do the same. We've been doing that for a long time. We've played Tua pretty well for the most part. We've actually played Tyreek Hill very well since he's been a Dolphin. Now, throughout his career, but since he's been a Dolphin, we played him very well. We've limited, I believe, him under 100 yards in every single game, since he's been a Dolphin. Now, Waddle has played very good against us, and it's going to happen. They have a lot of weapons over there, a lot of speed. The one thing I will say for this game is the Dolphins are getting their running game going, and they have speed out the backfield. They need to tackle. They need to be in the right place. They can't be caught out of position because the Dolphins, those running backs have some speed, and you can't get caught up, right? Most are super fast. I forget the other guy's name, the rookie, super fast guy, could take it to the house. He's a track star in college. So yeah, you don't want to be out of place because they will take it to the house. And we've seen that many times by this Buffalo Bills defense, being caught out of place, missing a tackle, and the running back takes it to the house or for a huge gain. So Buffalo Bills defense has to clamp down against the run against the Dolphins because they are starting to mix it up over there in Miami. But as far as the short underneath stuff, the quick passes, I don't think there's much we can do there. They're going to get that going. It's just as the game goes on, like I said, I want to see pressure, going towards Tua, especially late in the game, when their offensive line starts to break down a little bit on our rush. So that's what I want to see in this game. And that's a huge key to victory on slowing down their offense. All right, next up. Can the Bills defense run it back versus the fastest offense in the NFL? All right. So it wasn't just the Bills defensive line that had a standout performance in week 3 because the whole defense deserves credit for the impact they had against the Commanders. They became the first team since 1985 to record 9 sacks and 4 interceptions in a single game. Yes, since 1985. The group is second best in the NFL, allowing an average of 11.7 points per game. And they're getting ready to play the team who leads the NFL with an average of 43.3 points per game, thanks to players like wide receivers Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and running back Raheem Mostert. Is it possible the Bills could take a few things from week 3's game and use that against the NFL's fastest team? Sean McDermott says the defense has continued to show signs of improvement to start the season because of the way they have prepared. It's the preparation players put themselves through, and the coaches have done a phenomenal job of getting them prepared during the week, McDermott shared. Of course, Sam Howell and Tua are 2 different quarterbacks and 2 different offenses, but the fact they posted the NFL's second highest pressure rate in the game since 2016 means they have several things going right to start the season. Miami doesn't just rank first in points per game. The team also leads the NFL in total yards per game, 550. Yards per play, 8.4. Rushing yards per game, 188.3. Got to stop that. Passing yards per game, 362. Red zone efficiency, 78.6. Plays of at least 20 yards, 20. Score percentage per drive, 58.3. And the list goes on. They have an unreal team. They have unreal team speed on the offensive side, Sean McDermott said. That's really where my focus has been the last hour or two. And it seems like they added to it this offseason. So very good skill. Tua is throwing the ball extremely well, and their schematics are almost revolutionary in what they do. Coach McDermott is very, very creative and does a lot of things to get you out of position on defense. Yeah, that's true. Listen, I trust Sean McDermott. I do. I trust that he's going to dial it up. He's going to have a good game plan versus the Dolphins. The one thing, that you can already see as far as the difference between McDermott and Frazier style defense is the aggressiveness. And Sean McDermott is going to bring that. And also a big difference to me too, is in-game adjustments. I really feel like McDermott has done a really good job in in-game adjustments on defense. So I could definitely see the Dolphins maybe scoring a little bit early on, and then that's when McDermott starts to really, dial it up, mix it up, starts to show more exotic looks. on this defense. And look, yes, the Dolphins are first in a lot of categories, but the Buffalo Bills are right there with them. Buffalo Bills are second in points in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills, I believe, are first in the NFL on defense, points per game, I believe, and we're no joke either. So we're very evenly matched. So don't get it twisted when it comes to that. And like I said, the Dolphins are going to be in a dogfight. And they got a real surprise coming to them when they play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, because this defense is no joke. This defense is going to show them very exotic looks and confuse Tua, and hopefully we get some turnovers on that. All right, next up. Why offensive opportunities will be important against the Dolphins D. All right. While the Miami offense is getting plenty of attention heading into the week, the Bills' offense has been heating up as late as well. The Bills sit right behind Miami. I just said that in overall NFL rankings, averaging 30.3 points per game, second in the NFL. While Miami's offense ranks first in several statistical categories, its defense ranks more middle of the pack to start the season. Aha. Through 3 games, the Dolphins are allowing an average of 23.7 points per game. That's 21st in the NFL. And 361.3 total yards per game. That's 23rd in the NFL. To start the season, the Bills' offense is averaging 383.3 total yards per game, 7th. 51.2% third down conversion rate, 1st. 53.3 scoring percentage per drive, 4th. And 35.45 average time of possession, 3rd. When it comes to scoring opportunities against Miami, offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey thinks they'll need to operate at a high level, knowing the challenges that Vic Fangio defense can create. I think they've obviously got a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, up front and secondary wise. Really, that whole unit, Dorsey said, on Miami's defense. So I think right now they're playing extremely sound football. They're forcing the offense to execute at a high level based off of what they're doing. They're creating problems for the quarterback with some of their disguises and the different things they do there. So it's a tough group that just really forces you to have to be on top of things to execute in both the run and pass game, because they're physical, they play fast, and they play sound in terms of what they're doing. And that's the end of that. So, yeah, listen, I think the key to this game comes down to the Buffalo Bills offense. And if we do what we've done the last 2 weeks, which is what? Win time of possession, right? And turnovers. Those are key. But especially on offense, time of possession. That's so key for this game. Keep our defense on the side of the field. Keep just stumbling my words. Keep them fresh. Guys, listen, I do so many of these videos, it drives me nuts. So keep them fresh on the sideline and get them ready. To go against that offense of the Miami Dolphins, fresh. Keep them fresh. And I think the offense needs to do a few things here. One, they need to run the ball efficiently. They need to involve Murray and Harris in this game, and they have to be involved early. I keep saying it. They did it well in week 2. They didn't do it well in week 3. And I didn't like that. I did not like the game plan, the running game plan in week 3. Though we tallied up a lot of run yards, but a couple of those run yards came from Josh Allen's when he took off and scrambled. Now, James Cook had 97 yards rushing. Great day. Loved it. But Murray with 5 carries, not so good. And I think 3 of them came in the fourth quarter. And Harris, I think, had 1 or 2 carries. Just not enough. I want to see those guys get in the game early on. They're bruisers. That's what they do. They're going to break down that defensive line. They're going to make a pay every single time they make a tackle on Murray or Harris. And what that does is that's going to open up more opportunities for James Cook as the game goes on. And I just felt like they didn't get those 2 involved early enough in week 3. Though everything worked out great, you want to continue what you did in week 2. Week 3, it could have been better, and it wasn't. It was good. But imagine if those 2 got going early in that game, and that would have gave an opportunity for James Cook to get going a little bit earlier. Because once again, a lot of those yards that James Cook were very late in the game. If we can get Murray and Harris involved early, talking about first quarter, then James Cook can get going a little bit earlier instead of later. And then what does that mean? That means the Buffalo Bills are chewing clock, making long drives, right? 9-minute drives, just killing out a quarter, giving the Dolphins very little time on offense. That's what I want to see. Limit the Dolphins offense on the field. Wear out that Dolphins defense. Break them down. That's what I want to see this weekend. If we go to this happy ball, throw the ball 50 times, rush James Cook 8 times, Murray 2 carries, 3 carries, it's gonna be a long game. It's gonna be a tough game, a really, really long game, and it may not work out for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills need to win that time of possession, and it starts with the running game. And how does it start with the running game? Starts with Murray and Harris, in my opinion. And if you don't use them, well, then James Cook's not going to get going until later on. And who knows if we even will use James Cook later on, depending on the score. So I really want to see that running game get going early, and all 3 guys get going early. That's my keys right there to the game, to victory. So I want to know what your keys are. By the way, we will be doing a preview of the game on Friday Night Lights, more in depth with me and Mikey at 8:30 Friday Night Lights. And also Thursday, Mafia Means Family podcast will also be previewing the game, and that's at 7:30. So you don't want to miss that. And then big episode on Saturday at 6 o'clock, AFC East Shakedown. Y'all know the deal, man. We're going to have all the representatives of their football teams, the Dolphins, right? Curtis and Captain D, and the Patriots with Trevor and Juan, and Jedi Kev, who represents the Jets. Oh, I feel so bad for that dude. So you don't want to miss that. That's at 6 o'clock. That's on this channel this weekend. It's going to be big time. So, guys, Bills Mafia, I love you. And I'm sorry I rambled on for so long, but yeah, man, it's been a long week, and I'm starting to, my juices are starting to flow finally. But hey, love you. I'm out of here. Go Bills. Peace.